it's our priority to establish and maintain good relations with all of our neighbors, because especially in the field of economy, because our economic development depends on the quality of our links and networks with, first and foremost, with the neighbors. Moreover, our multi-ethnic society is reflected in our cultural...
My questions for all of you is, how do you see the region of Balkans in 10, 15 or even 20 years, whatever is easier to you to answer? And for Aras Bey as well, since you are here, how do you see whether the Turkey is going to be in European Union in that period of time?
Thank you very much. So we start with our panelists from left to right.
Starting with Turkey would be better, but well, of course, not easy to predict where our region would be in 10, 15 years. We would like to believe that it will be much better than today, because today is much better than it has been 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It will depend, the developments in our region historically have depended from coincidence of two-dimensional dynamics. So the dynamics inside and the interferences from outside. Historically, sometimes the interferences from outside have been negative. We are very lucky that since, let's say, the collapse of communism, the interference or the spirit, let's say, which is coming from outside, if we want to put it a bit more philosophical, is positive. So it's leading, as we said in the beginning, it's leading our region through profound transformations, which are positive for our region. So the outside structures, I don't want to call them organizations or states or empires historically, are not coming to our region with their political agendas, which only fit to their national objectives or political objectives. So if we judge it from today's perspective, then of course we have all the reason to be optimistic. I just recently, as a coincidence, read, because you know there is this 100th anniversary of the First World War, and the big events are going to take place, as far as I know, in Sarajevo. And you must know better this, Errol and Mr. Aras, but there was a commentator in one of the medias in our region about, perhaps you are familiar with the name Norman Angeli, who wrote a book called Great Illusion, which said that the world has become so much interdependent that it's unthinkable actually to think about the war. But you know, he wrote that book in 1909, so 5 years before the First World War. Although then he justified, he said, I mean, I'm just speaking about the economic rationales. So, I mean, this means that we have to be cautious also. We have to be cautious, but we have reasons to be optimistic. So this would be my answer.
Predicting the future is not always easy. Thank you for the question. I pretty much agree with Mr. Cedillo about his remarks during, related to the future of the Balkans. Speaking as a diplomat, I'm always confined by some frontiers that I should follow. But as I said previously in my remarks, we should first abandon Balkan stubbornness. In fact, a lot of things have improved since the 90s. We are no longer in war. Virtually, we sit on the same table. We speak openly about the things. I will give you the example about Macedonian-Greek relations. We are engaged in the process for nearly 20 years. We speak with them openly about everything. We can't find common language still, but that does not mean that we should cease to speak and debate and exchange views about the relations. So that's I suppose is the most important thing. Not to stop talking to each other, because if we stop talking to each other, then other people will start talking in different means probably, and we very well know that the Balkans is still very vulnerable to different kind of nationalism, extremism, and so on. Another problem is the economy of the Balkan states. We should pretty much focus on the economy because that's what's bring us together. A lot of countries experience difficulties. Our unemployment rates are still very high. For instance, in Macedonia, it's around 29–30%. I don't know about Kosovo and Albania. But if we focus our energy on economy rather than politics and putting obstacles to each other, then I'm pretty sure that the region has some very positive perspective in future. That's why I appeal to cooperation on infrastructure projects, building roads, building bridges between the different peoples. If we focus on that, then we have a future. If don't, then everything is possible. So, thank you very much.
I think most of it has been said, and I agree with previous speakers. But I would say, who would have really dared to imagine that in 2000 the region would be what it was after a decade of war and destruction and misery? Who would have really guessed that a decade later we would have had such a transformed region, that Kosovo would have been independent and accepted widely, largely in the world? So I would say that, well, betting in the future is not really our speciality, but taking stock of what has happened, I see my country a member of the European Union in 10 years' time, and I see the whole region, if not completely integrated, on the verge of being integrated, which will absolutely and profoundly and definitively transform everything in our part, and we will not be called anymore Balkans or Balkanization, but just Europe.
Thank you for painting that beautiful picture. I guess it's wonderful, and in 10 years' time, I think the question was also addressed to me, and it's with regards to Turkey, and I'm not sure that I'm the best expert in that, but I know that in 1991, 1992, I was in Belgrade, young man, and there was this huge propaganda on TV, and it was all war propaganda. There were bad words which were preceding then the bad deeds. And I said to my dad, I said, if I was a village boy in Serbia, I would be the first one to go to Kosovo and kill these Albanians, because that's how the impression was. The impression was made. It was just psychological preparation of the whole nation. Every day we would hear about attempted rapes of Serbian nuns in Kosovo, and then when you went to the statistics of it, you found that the least number of rapes in the world, and especially in Europe, is in Kosovo. But the impression that we were getting in Belgrade was that this is happening on a daily basis there. And there was only one, I remember, interracial, what you call interracial rape, and that was of a Serbian guy raping an Albanian woman. But besides that point, I want to say this, that good words precede good deeds. I think this sort of panel is giving a hope. We have heard very beautiful words from Bulgarian ambassador, from every one of these people. We heard positive words, and I also believe that we are not also aware enough of the phenomenon of this information revolution, the Facebook and the internet, and information which is spread around right now through these means. I don't think that war in '92 would be possible with the Facebook today. We had huge demonstrations. Actually, Serbian students were demonstrating against the war. I was in the middle of those demonstrations. Serbian students were demonstrating in the middle of Belgrade against the war because they were the educated part of the country. Because they had somehow this information, the true information. But right now, when the information is spreading so fast, I believe that we are going to be globalized. That Mr. Hoxha mentioned that there is a prejudice about Albania. Albania is not being accepted because of this prejudice. It's still medieval thinking which happens in Europe. But this is going to die, I hope, with the spread of information. And that goes also for Turkey. Turkey may be a harder case, but I think it will go as well for Turkey. Actually, the things are shifting. As you can see in the economy, Turkey is becoming a big economy power. And I believe that at one stage, European will beg Turkey to be part of the European Union if things go as they've gone these last 10 years.